Hey guys, this is Omer from MMOs.com, and I'm going to do another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending June 20th, 2016. This is episode number 48 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week comes from Black Desert Online from Dom Games. They launched their Siege War as well as Node War systems to the game this week, as well as making some balance changes and tweaks to other classes. They introduced most notably a new dueling system so you can duel players 1v1, party versus party, or 1v party. Previously you had to duel people or fight people in an arena in town, now it's just way more convenient. More interestingly though, Dom took a pretty big step towards combating hackers this week. They moved skill cooldowns from client side over to server side, which should effectively eliminate those pesky zero cooldown hackers. I'm surprised it wasn't server side to begin with, but at least they're taking the right steps towards addressing the hacker issue. I expect more things will be moving server side in the coming patches, as that should prevent most hacks. Next up, some mega big news regarding Overwatch. Yes, I said mega big news. That'll be a thing. For the first time in about 4 years, somebody overtook League of Legends in South Korea's PC Bang cafes. Earlier this week, Overwatch captured 29.2% of the South Korean PC Bang market share versus 28.8% for League of Legends. Numbers have since changed a bit, and the last time I checked it was about 29.7 versus 29.63. It was very close. But seeing Overwatch give League a run for its money in South Korea, where the game is absolutely huge, is quite interesting. Perhaps League will be dethroned as the #1 PC game this year. Only time will tell though. Blizzard has released some more data about the game too. Over 10 million players have purchased Overwatch since launch, and needless to say, the game is doing quite well. Ranked Play is also set to launch later this month, and I'm personally excited to climb that ladder. But yeah, I mean, League and Overwatch are neck and neck in South Korea, which is incredible. I mean, League has dominated the scene for such a long time. Perhaps Overwatch will take over. Up next, Legend of Titan, the hilarious Chinese Overwatch knockoff game, shows off some gameplay in a new trailer. The game is developed by the Chinese studio Jean Vulcan Network Technology Company and is so obviously a blatant ripoff, it's pretty funny. I mean, some characters were altered to appear more unique and the maps were sort of reskinned, but it's still obvious that the game copied Overwatch. I mean, some of the characters just literally ripped off from Overwatch directly on here. They did change some of them slightly, but Widowmaker is like literally the same thing. I mean, it's not even an oh my god, that's such a WoW clone type of statement either. They genuinely copied Overwatch. Legend of Titan will be available through mobile instead of PC though, so I guess it's different in that regards. I suspect Blizzard's lawyers will work towards shutting them down before they even launch though, but who knows? China is a mysterious place where copyright laws get ignored all the time. But yeah, the video you're seeing is the gameplay trailer for Legend of Titan, the Chinese Overwatch clone. Also in FPS related news, Lawbreakers, the buy-to-play shooter from Boss Key Productions and Nexon, had its first alpha test this last weekend. I did have a chance to play it, but I wasn't able to get the full experience as the game ran pretty sluggish on my PC. But I suspect those bugs and optimization issues will be worked out before the release later this summer. Unfortunately, only 4 playable classes and a single map and game mode were available, but I had fun nonetheless. It felt like a faster-paced arena shooter version of Dirty Bomb, which is nice because we haven't had too many arena shooters lately. Another alpha test is scheduled to begin in early August, which should be open to more players, so if you didn't get into the first alpha test, you may get into the next one. Up next, some unfortunate news from Daybreak Games. They announced their plan to shut down Planetside and the Legend of Norrath this week, with Legend of Norrath hitting the grave on August 17th, and Planetside 1 shutting down on August 17th. And keep in mind guys, this is for Planetside 1, not Planetside 2. The original Planetside launched back in 2003, and I actually remember playing it when it first came out. It was actually a lot of fun. It was actually definitely revolutionary for its time, and it had a long 13-year run, so it had a good run. Legend of Norrath, on the other hand, is an online card game based on the EverQuest and EverQuest 2 franchises that didn't do a good job marketing because I don't even remember hearing about it, but it's shutting down on August 17th after like about a 9-year run, which is still pretty good. But as always, rest in peace, Dead Games. Also, in related games getting shut down, Tera is shutting down in China on August 18th. This is the Chinese version only and will have no bearing on the Western version of the game. Interestingly enough though, the game is being shut down only halfway through its publishing contract. So it's either the game is doing quite poorly there or it just isn't being marketed properly. The company there is Kunlun Games, which has been publishing the game, and no word on whether a new Chinese publisher will step up and pick it up or not. The game still gets anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 concurrent players on Steam alone in the West, so it's still going fairly strong over here, but the Chinese version is not doing so well. But interestingly enough, Tera was a game that always did better in the West than did in the East, so it might be one of the few games that comes from Asia that does better here in the West than in its home country, so that's surprising. On a more positive note, Luckcatchers, a free-to-play steampunk ship shooter, launched into Steam Early Access this week. Matt played it, a decent map before it even launched on Steam, and had positive remarks about it. The full launch is set for fall later this year, but those interested in the game can check it out now. It's getting over 200 concurrent users on Steam, which isn't so bad, especially for an indie, smaller game like this. I personally know very little about it, but I'll be checking it out, so expect the first look relatively soon. Next up, also some positive news, some good news for Blade & Soul, which is pretty good because I've been playing some Blade & Soul lately. The game's newest class, the Soul Fighter, will be making its debut on June 22nd, which is on Wednesday. It's a 9th class, and I believe the latest class, even in the Korean version of the game. So the Eastern and Western versions will be pretty close together. But yeah, if you want to play a Soul Fighter or just return to Blade & Soul, this might give you a good reason to check it out again. Brand new class. Moving right along, Elsword's latest character, Rose, just received their first path update this week too. Players can pick between either the Heavy Barrel or Stormtrooper job advancement. Yes, Stormtrooper is actually the name of a job advancement, which is why you heard me chuckle. As I pointed out before, Elsword has been on the ball with content updates. Despite its 2011 launch in the West, it's been going quite strong. Plus, they always release cool videos with their updates too, so it's always worth covering. Up next, Tran Worlds announced that ArchAge Update 3.0 will be launching in the West later this year. The announcement coincides with the developer's update trailer revealed in Korea just this week. And aside from the new trailer, we haven't heard anything official about the game. MMO Culture points out, however, that the trailer shows off 2 new playable races, the Demon and the Mech, flying machines, and a new 10v10 PvP mode, as well as the ability to list properties for sale in the game's auction house. Again, no specifics on release date, but Tran says it'll be later this year. Next up, Battleborn is not going free to play. We posted an article about rumors of a potential free to play conversion earlier this week, and they turned out to be not true. However, it looks like Gearbox may be taking the first steps to prepping the game for free to play at a later date, as microtransactions are being introduced to the game through a premium currency called Platinum. As of June 16th, players can use Platinum to buy skins and taunts and various other goodies. I suspect the game will still go free to play in the near future, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving right along, remember Lime Odyssey Online? That game that was coming soon from Area Games forever ago, back in 2011? Apparently it's coming back, but as a mobile real-time strategy game. Lime Odyssey Conquest is going to be a thing. Not too much is known about it, but we do know that a small Korean studio called GoBees is developing it. But who would have guessed that a franchise like Lime Odyssey that failed pretty quickly in Korea and failed before it even launched through Area Games in the West would be used as a base for a new game? Like, why? It's kind of random, but why? The next and last bit of news this week comes from Warframe. They just launched a sports mode called Lunara, which looks something like handball in space. PC users should have access to the Lunara right away, but PS4 and Xbox One users will have to wait a bit longer. No word on exactly when that is, but a little bit longer. Lunara is the first of 3 updates planned for June and July, so expect more updates relatively soon. Anyway guys, that's it for this week's MMO news and updates. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later.